Live here.
And they came here.
I know, live here.
We call for us to
How far live here? Live here, bro. Live here. Live here.
Welcome back to Chockatable Media. The video you just watched shows a disturbing incident at a fire scene on Lagos Island, where a News Central TV journalist was manhandled by an individual. This unfortunate event highlights the significant and dangerous risks that journalists face while performing their duties in Nigeria. Journalists in Nigeria, and particularly in Lagos, often face a multitude of threats, including physical assaults and harassment, as seen in the video. Journalists can be physically attacked by members of the public, security forces, or political thugs. This can happen during protests, conflict zones, or even at disaster sites, where emotions are running high and individuals may be hostile to media presence. Intimidation and threats. Journalists are frequently intimidated and threatened for reporting on sensitive topics such as corruption, crime, or political issues. These threats can come from various sources and are intended to discourage them from publishing information. Lack of protection. Despite the constitutional guarantees for freedom of expression and the press, journalists often lack adequate protection from authorities. In many cases, security personnel either fail to intervene or are the perpetrators of the harassment themselves. Legal challenges. Journalists can be targeted through legal means, including the misuse of laws like the Cybercrime Act, which are used to arrest and detain them for their reporting. Self-censorship. The constant threat of violence, harassment, and legal action can lead to self-censorship, where journalists avoid covering certain stories to protect themselves and their families. This has a chilling effect on press freedom and limits the public's access to vital information. The incident in the video is a stark reminder of the vulnerability of journalists on the job. They are often caught in the middle of tense situations, and their presence, meant to inform the public, can be seen as an intrusion or a threat by those involved. At Arise TV today, here is how Dr. Reuben Abati attended to the issue.
A new viral video captured the moment where a News Central journalist was harassed and violently assaulted by a man in the area while trying to report the fire. After pushing the journalist, the man then launches towards the cameraman. Let's take a look.
I know, live here.
We call for us to
How far live here? Live here, live here. Hey, live here, bro. Live here. Live here.
This is unbelievable. But you know that this is not the first time that we're seeing, a reporter. Some users online have noted that this is not the first time that we're seeing, a News Central reporter being attacked like this on camera while covering a story. There was an incident from a year ago where a correspondent was attacked in Ojota while covering a hunger protest there. We did take this story. I'd like for you to tie both stories in really quickly.
Let's deal with the harassment of journalists.
Yeah.
Whether the journalist is from News Central or from Arise News or from AIT or from Channels or from Silverbird or from TVC, no journalist deserves to be harassed in the course of their duty. The job of the journalist is to report the news. And you find that part of the occupational hazard is that, journalists are harassed, they are attacked, they are victimized because they are doing their job.
Yes.
Whether it is in Nigeria or on the streets of Gaza, where over 157 journalists have been killed by Israeli Defense Forces. Now, it's not just about the hazard, it's about people realizing that journalists who have a responsibility under Section 22 of the Nigerian Constitution have a responsibility to be there when the news is happening. They are first responders. So that gentleman who was harassing the journalist from News Central, his face is known.
His face is out there.
He is guilty of assault.
Yes,
that's the assault.
absolutely.
And he should be apprehended.
Yes.
And in fact, News Central should sue for the harassment of their journalists.
Yes,
maybe that is when people will get to know that journalists are doing their job. Whether they are speaking on this table and drawing attention to common sense issues.
Yes.
Or they are on the streets, trying to report news. That's that about that. About the fire. I think that, we have had, it was James Baldwin who wrote a book called The Fire Next Time. Although in that book, the book is about racism, racial segregation, and all of that. But The Fire Next Time applies in this particular case in a literal sense. Because again and again, we've been having fire incidents around that Mandela's Broad Street area. If it is not shops getting burned down, it is something else that is catching fire, and always it is a market area. And the fire service people, they always arrive very late. Now, 2 incidents in one day. Afriland Towers. Look at people jumping from window.
I thought I was watching a movie.
Yeah, they didn't die, but it makes Nigeria look ridiculous. As Rufai pointed out, okay, are there no fire escape routes? Are there no exits? The fire, we were told, started in the basement, and the smoke, engulfed the entire building. People had no extra ways. So the state government, I think it has come to a point where the Lagos state government has to set up a committee to take a second look at the building code and its enforcement in Lagos State. Because you can't be in a building where there's only one exit and you have so many people inside the building. That's not how it's done in civilized societies. Right. 2, integrity test must be conducted in that whole area. Those buildings, in terms of the electrical drawings, the integrity state of the wiring of those buildings. Because after Afriland Towers, there was another plaza at Taiwo Street, behind Mandela's, also yesterday. And then people lost their goods and all of that, right in the middle, in the same axis. Yeah. So that calls for concern. And I think that, the Lagos state government should not just say, a fire service said in the second incident, they mobilized trucks from Ebute Elefun, from Oniru. Check the distance. These are faraway places. All right. There's also something to be said about the structure of fire service in Lagos. That's true. The fire service is one of the oldest services in Nigeria. Yeah. It's over 100 years old. All right. And yet, it is one of the most inefficient and most unreliable.
All right.
Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing so you won't miss out any of our latest videos.